everything has been going great until today. I filled up the entire build plate area of muzzle flashes and plasma bolts and shotgun blasts and smoke and this and that, and fill up the build plate as much as I can and life will be good, right? No, life was not good. Threw it onto the Saturn and I just felt something was off. Like you're milking a bull and it's like, yeah, this isn't right. Yeah, it was that type of feeling. And then as I said, okay, well, let me pull this off, and then there's resin on my screen. And I'm like, oh crap. And instead of letting this run for 3 or 4 hours unattended and resin continuing to leak and destroy everything, I was able to catch it early, which is good, but it could have been bad, but it could have been good bad, because then if it ruined the Saturn III, I could have just said, you know what, I'm gonna get the Saturn IV Ultra and fix all the problems. So I thought, well, I'll just clean the tank. So I put some supports in there, cleaned the tank, lifted it off, and when it lifted off, it had a little circle where there was no resin, and I'm like, oh crap. So anyway, yeah, it ends up, there's a hole in my FEP. Right there. Yeah, it's got a hole, and I ended up cleaning the screen on top by just using isopropyl alcohol. Everything came off and everything's crystal clear, but unfortunately, I'm going to need another FEP or whatever this is. I just want to show you what we got. And if we look at, there's our hole, so you can see where it is in relation to where it was on there. But there was enough resin in just a few minutes that it had spread to about almost that there. So almost half of the screen had resin on it. I could tell my wife that this is broke, but that would be lying, and that wouldn't be good. I can't lie! And now I'm gonna have to do maintenance on the Saturn III Ultra.
Few moments later.
Yes, this right there, a punctured hole in our FEP for our Saturn III Ultra. What we're gonna end up doing today is we're gonna try to change out this FEP. So the first thing we're gonna end up doing is we're going to take these screws at each corner and we're gonna remove these. These are the screws that marry up with the holes on the unit, and what these holes do will lock that into place, or kind of like have it into a position. So what we'll end up doing here is we'll just take these and remove them. And remember to gauge how tight these are, because that will definitely help when you put these all back together. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start removing the screws, which are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 screws. And here we can already see there is some residue from the resin that we can see that is in these holes. So what we'll have to do is make sure that we clean this up with some IPA that we have. So now that we've got that, what we can end up doing is hopefully popping this out like so. And we've got more screws. Oh joy. Okay, so now we pull this up. You can see that this is all kind of resin remnants in there, so we'll definitely have to clean this up. Just get a little bit of IPA. There's our old FEP. So we can get rid of that. So now, this is our FEP, actually our ACF, but everybody calls it an FEP. We have our ACS film, and again, the shiny side is going to be up, and what we end up seeing is that it says, after the resin tank is removed and cleaned, tear off the middle protective layer film of the new release film first. To confirm the installation direction of the film, put the new release film into the 2mm two metal sheets and tighten the 28 screws. Cut off the excess of the edges, making sure the release film is clean and free of scratches. Put into the resin tank and tighten the remaining 16 screws, and then you're going to have your last 4 set screws. So this, it says here, this side of the film will touch the resin after installation. So that's going to be this side here. So we're actually going to be sitting it down like this, and then we'll be putting this on, and then this is going to be the side that's going to have contact with the resin, which is the shiny side up and the dull side down. We will follow this exactly the way that it says to do it. So now that we've got that, and it doesn't mention anything about putting a spacer in here, so obviously we're not going to put a spacer in here. What we'll end up doing is making sure that this is as centered as much as we can get. So now what we'll end up doing is putting this on there. The question is, it doesn't mention about poking holes in this. We're just going to start in this bottom corner. Well, it does go through. I'm just going to tighten it just a little bit. And so we'll kind of do the star configuration. So we'll go over on this side. Okay, so there we have it. What we'll end up doing is just kind of going around and just a little tiny bit of a turn on here. Alrighty. We're done with that. It talks about trimming away the edges with an X-Acto knife, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And we just so happen to have said X-Acto knife. Alrighty, good with that. So now what we end up doing is like so. And it will set in just like that. So now we're going to go ahead and put these in. I'll just put those a little finger tight, not too tight. Remember, you have these holes here and here, which are going to be used for your screws to hold the vat into your machine. Now we have our 4 screws that go in the corners. Alrighty, and there we go. Sounds good. So, there you have it, folks. Changing out your FEP with the Saturn 3 Ultra with the Elegoo Saturn 3 ACS release liner film. Hopefully this will last time for a long time. So in summary, what we ended up doing is changing out the ACF film for our Saturn 3 Ultra. Not a hard process, just a lot of screws. Pay attention to detail. I would have appreciated some picture coloring drawings because I'm kind of a picture guy. But we were able to complete that task. Now, the more important thing that I want to discuss is how do we prevent getting holes into our FEP or ACS film in future workflow. Now, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, and unfortunately, it is something that needs to be discussed because these ACS films are not cheap. So basically what happens is this. You're doing a print,
ding, fries it done, ding, fries it done,
and the print is done. So what you end up doing is you take the cover off, you're saying, oh, what a beautiful print we have. We remove the build plate, and then what we end up doing is taking our metal scraper and we proceed to scrape the print off of the plate. Little do we know that there are hard, sharp pieces of resin that pop off all over the place. I'd find them on the desk, I'd find them on the floor, and one of these small, hard, sharpened pieces of cured resin had popped into the vat. So what happened is on my next print, and about 15 minutes into the print, I wanted to come back and I checked the print, and we end up finding that hole in the FEP. Now, luckily, I was able to see that hole and clean the screen, and everything is good to go. But imagine if I had left home and let this run for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours to completion. It would have emptied out all of the resin into the machine, and then I'd have to buy the Saturn 4 Ultra. So what can we do to minimize the possibilities of getting future holes in our FEP? Well, one of the first things that we can end up doing before we scrape the print off of the build plate is we can go ahead and put the cover back onto our machine. Now, the second thing that we could end up doing is to run the clean vat cycle, and then you can peel that off out of the vat. It'll be cured, kind of the consistency of like wet cardboard. That will capture any bits of sharpened hard resin, and you can throw those away, and you can minimize the chances of getting holes in your FEPs from those little hard sharpened pieces of resin that popped off when you're taking it off the build plate and going into the vat. I think I'm going to do an adjustment to my workflow that when I take the build plate off, I'm going to put the cover back on. And then after I do all of that, the last step will be to do that clean vat feature. So if you've learned anything in this video, please give this video a like and subscribe, and also hit that bell to get future notifications of other videos where it could be about resin printing, it could be about painting miniatures, and I also have some videos on us retiring here in Korea, retiring overseas, so if that's an interest to you, join the channel. And every now and then I'll have some commentary videos of what's going on in the world, and I also have some fitness information as well. So something should appeal to somebody, so again, be sure to like, subscribe, and smash that bell. I would really appreciate it. Is to go ahead, take 5. I think we're on 8. I think we're on 8. Alrighty, with that being said, we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date with what's going on with us, the buried life as we're retired in Korea. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.